Hello. I didn't realize how loud it was going to be out here until I brought all my shit out here. Um, but it's kind of windy today, so you'll hear all my wind chimes and shit. I actually took one down because it was, it was loud. Um, I don't know what I was going to call this video. Probably like shadow cards I don't like. I don't know. I'm always talking in my Thoth videos about like loving this deck. Okay, it's just my deck, you know, and or my system, whatever you want to call it. And today I got gung ho, and I was watching some videos and trying to read. I've got the Katz books in like my Kindle, and I was like thumbing through those, and I was kind of reading through the first one, and for a book that has a lot of references to other books, I was like, okay, well, just tell me what that means then, you know? And so I kind of got frustrated with it, and I put it up for a minute, and then I went back to my other resource materials, and I was just like kind of like shuffling and flipping through the deck, and I realized that there are some cards in this deck that I not necessarily don't like, but just like any tarot deck, there's cards that you come across that don't make sense to you. Like, oh my gosh, my hair. I woke up like this, people. Like, I woke up like this. And so it's not so much that like I hate these cards or that they don't make sense per se. Like, I could probably make it make sense, okay? But like off-putting or whatever. Like I said, I have no idea what to put for this, but I guess I just wanted to flip through the cards. Maybe a fun, like, kind of fun video, because I like to talk a lot of, I like to talk, and I like talking about this deck, but instead of it being always about subjects that I love, I could talk about, the cards in the deck that don't necessarily resonate, I guess. I'm just kind of like flipping through the cards. I'm not doing anything but flipping through and kind of like getting my cards out, right? I love the cup suit in this deck. This deck is so pippy. Straighten myself up here. Like this 9 of Cups. It's so pippy, right? But like when I think of a Marseille deck, this is how I would set up the 9 Cups. Like if I were to draw a Marseille. And then like the 10 has like that giant cup at the top pouring on into all the other ones. So it kind of makes sense. Let's see if I don't even know if I'll be able to flip to the 10 of Cups really fast. But I love the cup suit in this deck, okay? But I don't like how some of the water doesn't look like water. Like, it doesn't bother me, it's just one of those things that irks me, right? Like this, it looks like fabric, it doesn't look like water. And if it were water, is it light that makes it the color golden? Like it's like a cream color, and doesn't immediately make me think of water. So that made me think, okay, well, what if it's like water in light? Like when we're seeing the water, the shimmering water. So there's like something. This is my absolute favorite. See, here I am going to talk about the cards that I like. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I like the 3 of Cups because he talks about it being pomegranate seeds, which is fantastic. But of all the cups, it's probably the one that looks most like water, even though these look like veils. Like a sheer, like a, marital veil or whatever. I'm trying to do this. If the wind gusts and all the cards go flying into the yard, I'm just gonna start crying, you guys. I've gotten a couple of cards in this stack over here that I just like want to kind of like, I kind of want to bitch about. That's what I want to say. I want to bitch about them for a minute. I do like the pip aspect of this deck, because when I fell in love with this deck, I didn't know shit about Marseille at the time. Like, when I would get a Marseille deck out, which at the time I think I only had my Jacques Veville, which is like a weird Bacchus type tarot from France. The art is just everywhere, you guys. Actually, if you'll hold on for a second, I can go grab it because it's on my table. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Let's see. I put it in order because I'm kind of studying it. See? Like, this is actually the moon card, star card, tower card. Somebody please explain this tower card to me. But anyways, the pips with this, let's get to a pip card. Like pentacles. I understand the pentacles. And largely I understand that swords are straight and wands are straight, swords are curved. I understand that. Okay? But and so like the cups and the pentacles suits I'm fine with, right? But the swords and the wands, they just, to get something out of the meaning of Marseille, it's all in the numbers, right? It's like, it's numbers and placement, I guess, placement of the things. And for instance, like one thing that I remember back in the day, where the hell is the sword suit? Jeez. Okay. One thing that I remember about Marseille, I promise we'll get back to the thought. Just like rambling about tarot right now with my loud ass wind chime. So here's like this is the two of swords. And there's nothing but flowers in the middle, right? Not necessarily a lot of white space, but there's nothing in the middle, right? And so it kind of goes on the two of swords, like two opposing forces, right? It's what I kind of see when I'm just looking, okay? But then you get this, which is a 3, and it's something stuck in the middle of those two forces. What is that? Something that's stuck. And it goes on like that because the even numbers, there's just something floral in the middle, which just means that it's now 2 against 2. There's a balance. There's more of a balance, I guess. More of a balance here. But then when you look at the 5, something's disrupting the balance, right? So I guess in my meager learnings of the Marseille, you know what I'm going with. But anyway, so that was this is Jacques Veville, and it was my first Marseille deck, and I kind of learned Pip from Crowley, right? And Harris. I love too many of these cards. I got like 10 here. I like way too many of these. And you know, it's funny because I was watching a video the other day about, was it books? It was a video about books. I'll leave it below. I was because it's still in my watch later. And I was watching this video that references a list of books that's supposed to be like the best books of all time or some shit like that. I'm always watching stuff like that. And one of the books that this guy referenced talks about passion and talks about how it's not you chasing your passion, because at the stage of you discovering something, you're not necessarily passionate about it yet. And it's the more you learn about something that makes the passion grow. So it's like if you sit down to a chessboard, like this is the analogy he used. If I sit down to a chessboard and I know nothing about chess, I'm not really passionate about chess yet. But as I learn, and I learn where the bishop goes and how the queen moves and how the pieces move on the board, and then you grow strategies, and then you grow how to read what your opponent's strategy is going to be, like once the game starts, and all of that turns into you getting excited about like the future of whatever that endeavor is. And that's what the passion is. That's what you're chasing. You chase that type of passion through you learning and growing with whatever that endeavor is. And that to me is what the thoth is whether or not I like some cards or some cards don't make sense or whatever the case is. I'm passionate about the thoth because even if I don't like something in the deck, let's just say, like one of the cards I'll show in a minute, but then I'll go and learn about something in that card, a piece of symbolism or a piece of an opinion, like a difference of opinions through all the various resource materials I have in this deck, and a little nugget of something will make me have a revelation, and that will continue the passion. Oh, does that make any damn sense? I'm not sure. Let's see. Now, a lot of these cards that I'll say are in this stack. I haven't even gone through the whole deck yet. Like, I'm just gonna do it like fast, kind of like you're shadow working the deck. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you take a deck, right? I usually do this with. Oh my gosh, my wind chime. I usually do this. Okay. My makeup is on. Let me film. I usually do this with new decks. Okay, thank you. I usually do this with new decks. I take it and then I go like this, and I'm like, don't like. Oh, you know what? I don't like that one. And don't like. You know, I just like do that really fast, right? I'm not really putting a lot of thought into it, but I just kind of put them into two piles of like and not like and don't like, and that helps me if I'm. I don't want to use the term passionate, even though I just banded against that word. It's not necessarily that I'm banding against passion. It's just that because I already know and love the deck, I grew that relationship. It didn't start that way. Like, yeah, I mean, I started with the images and loving the images and stuff like that. As I grow with the thoth, and as I learn more about the thoth, it's like the passion grows, right? It's like the passion grows. But I have to work at it. It's just like a relationship, you know? I'm sorry, in my opinion, okay? I've been married for, 15 years. And one of the best pieces of advice about relationships that I got was the day that we both grew up like in that severe Christianity, right? And the minister that had to sign off on our marriage certificate said, well, you have to go through counseling to get my signature. And we were like, okay. So we sat in his living room, and he asked both of us, he was like, well, why do you love her? And then he asked, well, why do you love him? And we answered, right? We answered some stupid ass answer. Looking back, to be honest, it was stupid. Just something, because I told him the same thing I would say now. It's the little things, that he shows me, right? So, something like that, which isn't stupid. I'm just saying, like, looking back, his answer was way profound. And he said, that's all good, that's great and all, but you love him because he loves you. And you love her because she loves you. And it's because a relationship is like this. You're like this, okay? As long as I'm continuing to work towards a future with this person and they're doing the same, then we're constantly going to be like this. We're not going to grow apart if we're constantly working at the relationship, you know? And that's why me and him always say that there's no such thing as deal breaker within us, because if we were to ever have gotten to that point, then we've not done this. Then one of us has quit working towards keeping the relationship alive. And it's a job. Trust me, it's a job. And same thing that I feel about the tarot. The tarot is a relationship to me. The tarot is something that I grew and I want to continue to learn and grow with. So therefore, I'm going to keep the passion alive through various means, through using it, okay, largely. It's not just about study, it's about using it. And what I'm doing now, playing with it, you know? To a grand sense, this is how I study tarot. Like, I'll just get the deck out, I'll flip through the cards, put them in like, don't like piles, maybe look up something in some kind of reference material about those cards that I don't like, and, you know, to have some kind of revelation, journal about them or whatever, and not be so severe on myself about learning, you know? Because to me, it's like, it's a tool, yes, but it's also a plaything, you know, like a toy. It's like also like a toy. Like, I love it. I just love it. Something glittery, right? So, okay, went through the whole deck. Now let's look at the cards that I've picked out. I'm not even sure which ones I picked out. And my hair is sticking all over the place. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, first, I don't know really why I put this in this pile, but this is the Four of Swords. And the key word for this is truce. So it makes sense that the swords are meeting in the middle. Like the points of the sword are meeting in the middle, as is like a truce. But when I look at this, I don't see truce per se. I see more Three Musketeers, you know, like all for one and one for all. Like, it's more so that these are difference of opinions, and you've kind of compromised and met somewhere in the middle, for the greater good, like for the greater good. Like, what was it back in the day when Alexander Dumas wrote that book? Kingdom? The kingdom, right? There was a monarchy. So kingdom, yeah. So whatever was the kingdom, all these opinions had to kind of get together and form this kind of alliance, but it's not necessarily a truce, because maybe they weren't warring at the time. Maybe they were, but because it's the four, it's like, this is more so an alliance to me, not a truce. So with this card, it's the keywords that kind of, you know, and then there's all these roses, right? We know what the rose reference is. However, I don't think that we have to see it in every single fucking card. Like, just have the arrows there and the points, maybe like some sparks fly off from the points, like maybe there's some agitation there to indicate, well, maybe that's what all this is. Like sparks that fly off from the clanking of metal swords that indicate that there was some tension there, which I guess would go more into the truce realm. So, okay. The next is the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is a great card, okay? And this is worry. Okay, this is what I think about. I'm trying to, like, get, I guess, a perspective here. Now, when I look at these, they look like concrete, not spheres, circles, which reminds me of the movie The Mask of Zorro, the Antonio Banderas movie, where Anthony Hopkins is teaching Zorro, or Antonio Banderas' character, to become Zorro. And he's got all these circles, right? He's got all these circles and it's like concrete and there's ropes and stuff, and it's almost like a obstacle course, right? To train. And that's kind of what I think of when I look at this. And almost like beneath these circles is lava, like the floor is lava. But then I got to thinking, if I was training and the floor was lava and I had to stay on these circles and then maybe somehow make my way into the center of this pentagram, I'd be worried. I would be worried because there's so 3D aspect to these circles here. Like it's raised, like the circles are raised themselves, like they're concrete circles or concrete cylinders, and then below is lava, Throw it into the fire! It's Theodore! So, now, one thing, we're going to reference back to Marcus Katz. He references something about the Tower card. It's the only reason I got this card out. I love this card. But I wanted to chat about it, okay? I don't know how much I'll be able to say on YouTube, but Marcus Katz references a type of sex magic that this implies, okay? And says that it's illustrated here. And that is I don't even know if I can say it. Anal. Okay, there you go. There you go. And it's that specific form of sex magic that's actually explicitly illustrated here. Where is this explicitly illustrating anal? This is a mouth, not a butthole. If my butthole had teeth, we'd be in for some trouble. So I'm not really sure where Marcus Katz got that reference. Of all the reference little numbers that he references in the back of his book, that particular statement that this explicitly illustrates anal didn't have a reference to it. Oh, so it's not like I can go and look that shit up. But it may reference it in another one of Crowley's work that, like he has this way of referencing something. It's like, oh, like the vision in the voice. But then when you get to the vision in the voice, you're like, okay, where am I supposed to go now? And then when you get to that section, it's like, read Nox Ox Pam or Nox Ox Pax, and it's like, So I'm not really sure where the reference material is going. Okay, success. I don't know if y'all, I'm like holding way over here. It's 6 of Pentacles. Success card. Of all the 3D circles that we had in the Pentacle suit, okay, like the one I just showed, what is this supposed to be? Now, largely I get that it's projective geometry, so there's a method to the madness, but there's structures in this deck too, like what we see in the 4 of Pentacles or the 4 of Discs. It's this like inside of a castle, right? Or inside, specifically what I believe is inside of a pyramid, like from Cairo. And this just doesn't really reference a place to me. It references more like you're looking into a flashlight. So this is almost light, which these shards here kind of make me think of light bouncing off of things. Not necessarily prismatic, but just light in general. Which I guess if you're thinking about the 6 of Pentacles, there's this idea of the give and the take, Again, we see the rose in the center. Maybe it's that I'm not liking. The rose. But anyway, so there's this aspect of the give and take, right, with the 6 of Pentacles in my brain. Not necessarily charity, and not necessarily you're just giving your shit away that you've earned. There's some kind of reciprocity there that I appreciate in a 6 of Pentacles, and the fact that this is success means that within this feeling of success that you you try to conjure within yourself, it's also what you're giving back that generates this feeling of success as well. Like, I wouldn't necessarily feel successful if I wasn't giving back in some way, like, you know, because then I would go into greed, I guess. So there's this thing with success that in order to be truly successful, you need to be able to give back some of what you have earned, or put back in yourself. Like, the money that you get from a business, you put some of it back into your business. That's kind of what I go to. But light in and of itself, I don't know. I'm a little confused about that. Anyways, the two, when I first got this deck and all the way to today, this is probably the card that most confuses me in this deck, because not only because it's such a fiery card, gotta put my hands on my stuff so that it doesn't blow away, but there's, again, opposing forces here with this, but they're the same color. They actually have the same, it's like two of the exact same wands, kind of like we were looking in the Rider deck, the Rider-Waite deck. The wands are wands, like bear or base level drive with these cards. I don't know. I just never really understood why they're crossed, because with the Two of Wands, to me, it's not necessarily opposing something. It's more, you know, something fighting. It's more so that you can't, you want to execute something. You don't know how. You don't know which direction to go as of yet. I don't know. It just looks too opposing to be in this cross pattern to me. But I don't, you know, it is what. Now, Defeat is a card that I absolutely love, because this ombre effect of the background and this look of well, let me look. Chaos. That's what I want to say. Chaos. I had to look at it to see. This chaos in the back is ombre from this purple to this green, right? And to be honest, these two colors on the color wheel would probably be opposite one another. This shade of green and this shade of purple, they'd be opposite on the color wheel. So there's this level of defeat. Let me back up to this card right here, because I picked the 4, right? I picked the 4 before. It's like the first card I showed. See this purple and then this green, right? But then in this card, so you're forming an alliance, you're trying to come up with a truth about something, but here it's kind of become muddied, right? And then everyone's kind of gotten off kilter, right? Like, all the swords are still pointing to the same, the truce is still going on, the alliance is still going on, but somewhere along the line, a new sword has come in, a new opinion has come in, a new troop has, you know, come into the fold, and you don't really know what to do with this new, like, you thought you had all the answers in this truce and then this alliance, but then this kind of fucked it up and you don't know what to do. So I kind of like the transition, like all the colors that are in this card get muddied a little in this. And it's not so much that it's sludge like we see in like the 7 of Cups, but just chaos, you know? What was good chaos in terms of a truce has led to a defeat of some kind. I don't know, I guess I like that. Still, this aspect of this pentagram. Where was the other pentagram? Oh, in the 5. Yeah, see? I'm trying to find patterns here. Oops. They're both pentagrams. Maybe there's something to be said about that. And how it's not really the middle of the pentagram that's the point, it's the outside. The points of these pentagrams, that's the point, maybe. I don't know. What were the next cards? This. I love the Two of Swords as a card, as a meaning. I love that this is peace, because in Crowley's deck, it kind of makes me think the sword suit is about war, right? They use a lot of war terms. He uses a lot of war terms like truce and peace and defeat, right? Science. Now see, that's interesting, because if we go on the war take with the swords, you know, we have the science card. And to me, that's Age of Aquarius. That's the age of technology. That's future planning. And that's going with the flow of the future. So whatever the new equipment is, whatever the new armor is, whatever the new blah, 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 that's what this card represents in terms, I guess, in terms of war. However, with this card, there's your two, right? All for one, one for all type thing going on. But then there's two other swords, tiny swords, in the way background. Are these the swords that represent the planet and the zodiac sign? Like, I don't know. It's just like something weird about these two swords being in the background. Are these two swords? The hilts look a little different. One thing I'll note is on the hilts of this sword right here, there's this figure that looks to be praying. It looks like it's praying, was my point. Okay? There's figures on there that look like they're praying. Praying for peace. There you go. I'm not really sure why I went the war take when we're thinking about the suits of the tarot. It's mind, right? And it's your mental capabilities, but in times of when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Anyway. And then the last card was the 9, which is cruelty. But it's the blood on this card. It's the blood and it's the lack of color. Okay? That this lifeblood back here turned into blood down here through the process of the swords getting used. So I just don't, for there to be rose petals on the defeat card, it didn't make sense that when you get all the way to the 9, which is technically the end of the suit anyway, there's blood now. You know, it's like, where was this blood at before? Or was there any? Are these just feelings? Are these just, you know, you can't get over this feeling of defeat that's in, you know, the circumstances are just molding over in your brain, right? It's like when you look at the Pentacle suit and you look at the worry card, okay? This isn't the mind suit. This is the mundane, you know, this is the everyday stuff. Why would worry be the key word for this? Why wouldn't the key word for the 5 of Swords be worry and the 5 of Pentacles be defeat? I don't know. See, this is like things I think about when I'm just looking over all these cards. So, I think that was all. Oh, so far. I may want to bitch about some more cards later. But anyways, it's just something like fun that I like to do sometimes. Is like get out my cards, either do spreads, map some stuff out. Oh, I'm sorry about my wind whipped hair, you guys. Map out the tarot using some kind of spread, using some kind of book, using whatever, you know. And that's pretty much it. Just play. Just like to play with my cards. And then occasionally bitch is someone who wants to listen. So I'm gonna go lay out some more. As you can see, I'm like really red. I've been like laying out because it's spring and hot here. So I'm gonna go lay out and get some more sun. Some vitamin D. All right, well, guys, let me know your thoughts. Happy Thoth Thursday, everyone. Much love.